Hey, hi, hello there, and welcome back to Formula Amateur. Today we are catching up on the Budapest Grand Prix. We are talking all about the Hungarian Grand Prix from the perspective of Formula 3, Formula 2, and culminating in Formula 1. So let's get into it, shall we? So let's get into Formula 3, and in terms of qualifying, in 30th position was Yamakoshi, who was disqualified, otherwise he would have been first. In 29th was DePalo, in 28th was Hannah, in 27th was Claro, in 26th was Burambakdi, in 25th was Shin, in 24th was Del Pino, in 21st was Stromstead, in 22nd was Garfias, in 21st was Deligny, in 20th was McLaughlin, in 19th was Sharp, in 18th was Carto, in 17th was Barrichello, in 16th was David, in 15th was Wharton, in 14th was Ho, in 15th was Justy, in 12th was Lay, in 9th was Guadish, in 10th was G, in 9th was Nakamura, in 8th was Rivera, in 7th was Nael, in 6th was Ugachukwu, in 5th was Badua, in 4th was Lacorte, in 3rd was Kolnagi, in 2nd was Slater, and in 1st was Tappinen, which means that the sprint grid went as Yamakoshi in 30th, in 29th was DePalo, in 20th was Hannah, in 27th is Claro, in 26th is Burambakdi, in 25th is Shin, in 24th is Del Pino, in 23rd is Stromstead, in 22nd is Garfias, in 21st Deligny, in 20th is McLaughlin, in 19th was Sharp, in 18th was Carto, in 17th was Barrichello, in 16th was David, in 15th was Wharton, in 14th was Ho, in 13th was Justy, in 12th was Tappinen, in 11th was Slater, in 10th was Kolnagi, in 9th was Lacorte, in 8th was Badua, in is Ugachukwu, in 6th was Nael, in 5th was Rivera, in 4th was Nakamura, in 3rd was G, in 2nd was Guadish, and in 1st was Lay. Now, to say that this has not been the weekend for Guadish is a bit of an understatement, because he did not finish the first sprint race because Nakamura and G and Guadish crashed into each other in both races. It was ridiculous, and both of those times Guadish was actually just a passenger. He was not a very happy bunny. So in 30 was Nakamura, in 29th was Guadish, in 28th was G, in 27th was DePalo, in 26th was Yamakoshi, in 25th was Burambakdi, in 24th was Hannah, in 23rd was Shin, in 22nd was Ho, in 23rd was Claro, in 20th is Stromstead, in 19th is McLaughlin, in 18th was Del Pino, in 17th was Ugachukwu, in 16th was Deligny, in 15th was Garfias, in 14th was Carto, in 13th was Justy, in 12th was Sharp, in 11th was David, in 10th was Slater, in 9th was Barrichello, in 8th was Wharton, in 7th was Lacorte, in 6th was Tappinen, in 5th was Badua, in 4th was Kolnagi, in 3rd was Rivera, in 2nd was Lay, and in 1st was Nael. But in terms of the main race, there were a lot more non-finishers, and to be exact, there were 6 non-finishers. In 30th was Guadish, who did not finish the race. In 29th was G, who did not finish the race. In 28th was Nakamura, who did not finish the race, because those 3 collided again, as I said. Then in 27th was Hannah, who did not finish the race. In 26th was Lay, who did not finish the race. In 25th was Barrichello, who did not finish the race. In 24th was Deligny, who did not finish the race. And then the last of the finishers was David. In 22nd was Shin, in 21st was DePalo, in 28th was Nael, in 19th was Burambakdi, in 18th was Lacorte, in 17th was Justy, in 16th was McLaughlin, in 15th was Claro, in 14th was Del Pino, in 13th was Carto, in 12th was Stromstead, in 11th was Garfias, in 10th was Yamakoshi, in 9th was Ho, in 8th was Sharp, in 7th was Wharton, in 6th was Rivera, in 5th was Tappinen, in 4th was Kolnagi, in 3rd was Badua, in 2nd was Ugachukwu, and in 1st was Slater, his first win this season. And that also means that he is actually miraculously, because as this is only his first race win in Formula 3, he is actually leading the leaderboard. He's on 130 points. 8 points behind him in second with 122 is Ugachukwu. In third is Niel on 75 points. He's 47 points behind Ugachukwu. In fourth is Rivera on 72. He's 3 points behind Niel. Then is Baduwe on 71 points, 1 point behind Rivera. Then in sixth is Stromstead on 59. He's 12 points behind Baduwe. In seventh is Yamakoshi, 4 points behind on 55. Eighth is Guadish on 54, 1 point behind Yamakoshi. In ninth is Del Pino on 49, 5 points behind Guadish. In 10th is Clero, 1 point behind on 48. In 11th is Tapanen, 2 points behind on 46. In 12th is Kato on 45, 1 point behind Tapanen. Then in 13th is Nakamura on 39, 6 points behind Kato. In 14th is Koinagi on 28, 11 points behind Nakamura. In 15th is Wharton on 28 on par with Koinagi. In 16th is Deligny on 21 points, 7 points behind Wharton and Koinagi. In 17th is Sharp on 20, 1 point behind Deligny. In 18th is G, also on 20 points on par with Sharp. In 19th is Lay on 17 points, 3 points behind G and Sharp. In is Justy on 15, 2 points behind Lay. In 21st is David on 7 points, 8 points behind Justy. In 22nd is DePalo on 6, 1 point behind David. In the third is Lacorte on 6, on par with DePalo. And then in 24th is Benavides, who is still not taking part, 2 points, and he is 4 points behind Lacorte. In 25th is Ho on 2 points, the same as Benavides. And in 26th is McLaughlin, also on 2 points. In 27th is Barrichello with 1 point, so he's 1 point behind McLaughlin, Ho and Benavides. Then in 28th is Garfias, 1 point behind on 0, followed by Buran Bakdi in 29th. Then in 30th is Hosenroder. In 31st is Shin. In 32nd is Hannah, and in 33rd is Escotto, and the 34th and 35th are no longer classified because there's no reason to classify them. So now let's get into the teams. How are the teams getting on? In first, as you'll see in Formula 2, it's Campos on 269, and then in second is Trident on 196, 73 points behind Campos. In third is Van Amersfoort Racing on 132, 64 points behind Trident. In fourth is Rodin Motorsport on 121, 11 points behind Van Amersfoort Racing. In fifth is ART Grand Prix on 119 points. They are 3 points behind Rodin Motorsport. Sixth is MP Motorsport on 102, 17 points behind ART Grand Prix. In seventh is Prima on 50, they are 52 points behind MP Motorsport. In eighth is High Tech on 41 points, 9 points behind Prima. In ninth is Dams Lucas Oil on 26, they are 15 points behind High Tech. And in 10th is AIX Racing on 23 points, 3 points behind Dams Lucas Oil. In terms of Formula 2, in qualifying for the main race, in 22nd was Boyer, in 21st was Miata, in 20th was Belinsky, in 19th was Shields, in 18th was Herta, in 17th was Dunn, in 16th was Verone, in 15th was Fittipaldi, in 14th was Bennett, in 13th was Goethe, in 12th was Villagomez, in 11th was Tenshorn, in 10th was Montoya, in 9th was Mini, in 8th was Boganovic, in 7th was Solov, in 6th was Van Hoopen, in 5th was Intrapuvasak, in 4th was Dirksen, in 3rd was Leon, in 2nd was Kamara, and in 1st was Maney, which means that the sprint grid went as follows. In 22nd was Boyer, in 21st was Miata, in 20th was Belinsky, in 19th was Shields, in 18th was Herta, in 17th was Dunn, in 16th was Verone, in 15th was Fittipaldi, in 14th was Bennett, in 13th was Goethe, in 12th was Villagomez, in 11th was Tenshorn, in 10th was Maney, in 9th was Kamara, in 8th was Leon, in 7th was Dirksen, in 6th was Van Hoopen, in 5th was Intrapuvasak, in 4th was Solov, in 3rd was Boganovic, in 2nd was Mini, and in 1st was Montoya, and that was the sprint grid. In terms of the sprint race, in 22nd was Montoya, who did not finish the race. He dropped 21 positions. He crashed quite early on. In 21st was Solov, who dropped 17 positions. Then in 20th was Fittipaldi, who dropped 5 positions. In 19th was Dunn, who dropped 2 positions. In 18th was Belinsky, who gained 2 positions. In 17th was Boyer, who gained 5 positions. In 16th was Shields, who gained 3 positions. In 15th was Villagomez, who dropped 3 positions. In 14th was Herta, who gained 4 positions. In 13th was was Miata, who gained 8 positions. In 12th was Goethe, who gained 1 position. In 11th was Verona, who gained 5 positions. In 10th was Bennett, who gained 4 positions. In 9th was Leon, who dropped 1 position. In 8th was Stenshorn, who gained 3 positions. In 7th was Dirksen, who stayed where he was. In 6th was Intrapuk, who dropped 1 position. In 5th was Maney, who gained 5 positions. In 4th was Kamara, who gained 5 positions. In 3rd was Van Hoopen, who gained 3 positions. In 2nd was Boganovic, who gained 1 position. And in 1st was Mini, who gained 1 position. And in terms of the feature race, in 22nd was Villagomez, who dropped 9 positions. He was not classified. In 21st was Stenshorn, who dropped 10 positions and was 2 laps down as a result of a crash with Villagomez, and he managed to get his car fixed in time but was 2 laps down overall. In 20th was Shields, who dropped 1 position. In 19th was Herta, who dropped 1 position. In 18th was Goethe, who dropped 5 positions. In 17th was Fittipaldi, who dropped 2 positions. In 16th was Montoya, who dropped 6 positions. In 15th was Boyer, who gained 7 positions. In 14th was Belinsky, who gained 6 positions. In 13th was Miata, who gained 8 positions. In 12th was Verona, who gained 4 positions. In 11th is Dunn, who gained 6 positions. In 10th is Bennett, who gained 4 positions. In 9th is Mini, who stayed where he was. In 8th was Dirksen, who dropped 4 positions. In 7th was Solov, who stayed where he was. In 6th was Boganovic, who gained 2 positions. In 5th was Intrapuk, who stayed where he was. In 4th was Van Hoopen, who gained 2 positions. In 3rd was Kamara, who dropped 1 position. In 2nd was Main, who dropped 1 position. And in 1st was Leon, who gained 2 positions. It was his first race win in Formula 2, and also proved a lot from the disqualification he suffered in the race previously in Belgium, where he was disqualified because of one of his guests' behaviours. So where does that lead the leaderboard? In first position is Solov with 167 points, 20 points behind him. In second is Mini on 147. Then in third is Kamara, 2 points behind Mini on 145. Then in fourth is Dunn on 108. That's 37 points behind Kamara. In fifth is Leon on 94 points, 14 points behind Dunn. In sixth is Maney on 88 points, 6 points behind Leon. In seventh is Boganovic on 79 points, 9 points behind Maney. In eighth is Van Hoopen on 65. That's 14 points behind Boganovic. In ninth is Stenshorn on 59 points, 6 points behind Van Hoopen. In 10th is Intrapuk, also on 59 points, level on points with Stenshorn. In 11th is Dirksen on 42 points, 17 points behind Intrapuk. In 12th is Villagomez on 38 points, 4 points behind Dirksen. In 13th is Miata on 34 points, 4 points behind Villagomez. In 14th is Goethe on 29 points, 5 points behind Miata. In 13th is Miata on 34 points, 4 points behind Villagomez. 14th is Goethe on 29 points, 5 points behind Miata. 15th is Montoya on 28 points, 1 point behind Goethe. In 16th is Herta on 26 points, 2 points behind Montoya. 17th is Belinsky on 24 points, 2 points behind Herta. 18th is Bennett on 18.6 points behind Belinsky. 19th is Verona on 14 points, 4 points behind Bennett. 20th is Boyer on 12 points, 2 points behind Verona. In 21st is Fittipaldi on 10 points, 2 points behind Boyer. And in 22nd is Shields, also on 10 points. So where does that lead the team's championship? In first position is Campos Racing on 261. A further 74 points behind is Invicta on 187. Then behind them in third is MP Motorsport, 11 points behind on 176. In fourth is Rodin Motorsport, 9 points behind MP Motorsport on 167. Then in fifth is ART Grand Prix, 20 points behind Rodin on 147. Then in sixth is Dams Lucas Oil, 44 points behind ART Grand Prix on 103 points. Then in 7th is Trident on 83 points, 20 points behind Dams Lucas Oil. In 8th is High Tech on 60 points, 23 points behind Trident. In 9th is Van Amersfoort Racing on 52 points, 8 points behind High Tech. In 10th is Prima on 40 points, 12 points behind Van Amersfoort Racing. And in 11th is AIX Racing on 20 points, so that means that they're 20 points behind Prima Racing. So in terms of Formula 1 and qualifying, in 22nd was Perez, in 21st was Bottas, in 20th was Stroll, in 19th was Albon, in 18th was Sainz, in 17th was Behrman, in 16th was Alonso, in 15th was Ocon, in 14th was Bortoleto, in 13th was Colapinto, in 12th was Gasly, in 11th was Lawson, in 10th was Hulkenberg, in 9th was Lindblad, in 8th was Hadjar, in 7th was Russell, in 6th was Verstappen, in 5th was Piastri, in 4th was Antonelli, in 3rd is Leclerc, in 2nd is Hamilton, and in 1st is Norris. And then in terms of the race, in 22nd was Bottas, in 21st was Perez, in 20th was Piastri. They all did not finish the race. In 19th was Behrman, in 18th was Sainz, in 17th was Albon, in 16th was Ocon, in 15th was Colapinto, in 14th was Alonso, in 13th was Stroll, in 12th was Gasly, in 11th was Bortoleto, in 10th was Lindblad, in 10th was Hulkenberg, in 8th was Lawson, in 7th is Russell, in 6th Hadjar, in 5th Hamilton, in 4th Leclerc, in 3rd Antonelli, in 2nd Verstappen, and in 1st is Norris. So this was a race of many new firsts for the 2026 season. It was the first time Hulkenberg scored a point, and in fact he scored 2 due to him finishing in 9th. It was also the first time that a McLaren won a race, a Grand Prix race, rather than a sprint, which was won by Lando Norris. And it's also the first time that the 2 Aston Martins managed to get themselves higher up than in these or low 10s, finishing 13th and 14th respectively, 13th being Stroll and 14th being Alonso. So it was quite a bit of a crazy one. And in terms of why the 3 cars did not finish the race, Bottas had a brake failure which turned into a fire, which he personally tried to extinguish, and he did quite a good job of it. He lost control of his brakes going into the pit. He could not brake to save his life, and then as the stewards were trying to extinguish the car, he joined with them to help out and hopefully try and extinguish the flames even faster, and I believe he probably managed to achieve that. And Perez also had a mechanical failure, and then Piastri, he had a crazy race because he looked like he was going to potentially win or finish second. He was slower than Lando Norris, but he was leading for a big majority of the race, but he was hit by Sainz, who was ignoring 8 blue flags, and then his car failed. He lost his gears, I believe, and I think that might have been a result of the crash he had with Sainz, and Sainz was penalised for that, but he did have some harsh words to exchange about the whole situation, so it was not a great time for him. And now let's talk about the drivers. So in first position, as has been for a while, is Antonelli with 219 points. In second is Hamilton with 169, he's 50 points behind. In third is Russell with 160, he's 9 points behind Hamilton. In fourth is Leclerc with 138 points, 22 points behind Russell. In fifth is Norris with 128, 10 points behind Leclerc. In sixth is Verstappen with 109, 19 points behind Norris. In seventh is Piastri with 92 points, 17 points behind Verstappen. In 8th is Hadjar with 68 points, 24 points behind Piastri. In 9th is Lawson with 43 points, 25 points behind Hadjar. In 10th is Gasly with 42 points, 1 point behind Lawson. In 11th is Lindblad with 23 points, 19 points behind Gasly. In 12th is Colapinto with 19 points, 4 points behind Lindblad. In 13th is Behrman with 18 points, 1 point behind Colapinto. In 14th is Bortoleto with 10 points, 8 points behind Behrman. In 15th is Sainz with 6 points, 4 points behind Bortoleto. In 16th is Albon with 5 points, 1 point behind Sainz. In 17th is Ocon with 3 points, 2 points behind Albon. In 18th is Hulkenberg with 2 points, 1 point behind Ocon. In 19th is Alonso, who is on 1 point behind Hulkenberg. In 20th is Stroll, 1 point behind his teammate Alonso on 0. In 21st is Bottas with 0, and in 22nd is Perez with. And in terms of the teams, in first is Mercedes with 379 points. A further 72 points behind on 307 is Ferrari. Then a further 87 points behind Ferrari is McLaren on 220. In fourth is Red Bull Racing on 177. That's another 43 points behind McLaren. Then in fifth is Racing Bulls on 66, 11 points behind. In sixth is Alpine on 61 points. They are 5 points behind Racing Bulls. In seventh is Haas on 21, 40 points behind Alpine. In eighth is Audi on 12, 9 points behind Haas. In ninth is Williams on 11 points, 1 point behind Audi. In 10th is Aston with 1 point. They are 10 points behind Williams. And in 11th is Cadillac, 1 point behind on 0. And in terms of all of the facts and figures, in terms of the awards, driver of the day went to Max Verstappen, who managed to start sixth, finish second in a car that doesn't look like will win him any races anytime soon, but maybe that will change. We'll see how that goes. The fastest lap went to Charles Leclerc, and the fastest pit stop went to Racing Bulls with 1.99 seconds, and the Pole position went to Lando Norris with a time of 1 minute 17 seconds 2.270. Pole position went to Lando Norris with a time of 1 minute 17 seconds 2:07. As always, thank you so much for listening to another episode of Formula Amateur. Please check out my lovely colleagues on the Be The Change Media Network. More content coming soon, I promise, while I try to once again catch up, because it has been a very busy summer of motorsport. Please check out BeTheChangeMediaNetwork.com. Please check out my lovely colleagues, as I've already said. I hope you have a lovely rest of your day, and I'll see you soon. Goodbye.